Summer is the founder and the producing artistic director at Urbanite Theater. And I will turn this over to.
Are we ready?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me this afternoon. I'm Summer Dawn Wallace. As Jamie said, I'm producing artistic director at Urbanite Theater. I'm always just curious to everybody who's here in the room, how many of you have been to Urbanite Theater? Woohoo! We've got some Urbanite fans in the house. Yay!
Jamie,
she dragged you there. Well, I love to talk about Urbanite. It's my baby. It's something I'm extremely passionate about. So Urbanite is located in I call it the heart of downtown. We're right across the street from Whole Foods on 2nd Street. Kawa Coffee Shop is in the front of the building. You follow, I call it the Space Alien mural on the side of the building, and we're right there in the back. Technically, we were there way before Kawa, but we were founded in 2014. And we're entering into our 11th season. And Urbanite is known for bold, innovative, new work. We're a black box theater space, which really that just means we have flexible seating. So if you go to see something at the Oslo, that is a proscenium style stage setup where kind of the play is up there and then you kind of observe it from here. Where at Urbanite, you usually are part of the play, whether you like it or not. Because it's an intimate space. We're 65 to 78 seats, depending on that seating configuration that we really do tend to move the seats around quite a bit. So even if you have been to Urbanite once, to really kind of get the full Urbanite experience, you have to at least come at least maybe 2 times or 3 times, because the space is going to be completely different and the style of the play is going to be completely different. So we do focus on new works. Those plays are generally written within the last 5 years. It could be a play that's maybe been written within the last 10 if it's a play that hasn't had a lot of life. We tend to do world premieres of plays or 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th productions of plays. We often have the playwrights as part of the process. So we are really working on fresh new material. And sometimes often the productions at Urbanite, our audiences have an influence on kind of what happens to the play. Reactions, things that the audiences kind of get feedback about and so forth might get incorporated into kind of that 2nd production. So most likely you've not heard of a single play, not going to know what the title is. So you are taking a risk as an audience member. But that's what kind of makes us special. And makes us innovative kind of in the community. We are an associate member of the NNPN, which is the National New Play Network. So we partner with them as well. And several of our plays that we have done have started with us and then have had what's called a rolling world premiere. So a playwright, 3 theaters sign on to produce a play. So that playwright has 3 opportunities with that one particular play to be done at 3 different theaters. It's different casts, different directors each time. But it's an opportunity for them to kind of continue to tinker on that play and really get it ready to kind of go out kind of on the larger scale. And most of the time when you go to the theater and you see a play, it's had thousands of productions or a workshop, a secondary workshop, a 3rd workshop. An example of a play like that would be Beautiful. That's if you haven't seen at the Oslo Rep, go see it. It's a fabulous production. But that play had many, many workshops. It's had many, many national tours. It's been on Broadway. And now this really wonderful production here in Sarasota. But that play had to start somewhere and before it could get to Broadway. And so that's kind of the type of work that we're doing. Other things to know about us, we have a very vibrant emerging artist program. We work with new college students, Ringling students. I'm a proud graduate of the FSU Oslo Conservatory, one of the best training conservatories in the country. And so proud graduate of that program. So we do utilize a lot of the conservatory students as well. We have artistic fellowships in directing, technical work, also administrative things as well. And so that's a big thing for us. And then also it's really supporting artists as a whole. So if we are working with playwrights that are parents, we provide them childcare. As part of our season planning, we want to make sure that we have equal representation in the season so that we're producing female playwrights and male playwrights equally, and that we have equal opportunities in terms of actors for equal amount of roles as well. It is a professional company, so we work with artists from California, Chicago, New York City, all across the country. Our last play that we just closed, Jennifer Who Is Leaving, I was incredibly proud of, in that we had 3 Oslo Conservatory graduates in it. One, a graduate from 1981, a graduate from 2012, and a graduate from 2024. So that's part of the way that Urbanite gives back. And then also part of our programming, we like to partner with other local nonprofits. If we have a play that has a theme that we think a local nonprofit we might share, we'd like to feature that nonprofit in our digital program. Sometimes we'll do a give back night and so forth. So that's kind of important to our work. Our play that we just closed took place in a Dunkin' Donut shop. Our next play is taking place in Mars. So you'll be inside a spaceship if you come to see us. And that is part of the process of trying to make the play as immersive as possible. And we say that our plays, we want to leave you have a little bit more empathy. We want you to have a wonderful time, but we want you to continue the conversation in the car. So while seeing a play that is beautiful and just is a lovely evening and you never think about it again is totally valid. But we like to do work that, like, you might wake up the next morning and need to be like, I got to talk about that moment that happened. So that's kind of the work that we're known for. And that's Urbanite. And I feel very proud to lead the company. We're a small team. We have 5 main full-time employees, and then we employ about 55 other artists throughout the year. And then we also have, I haven't talked about our Modern Works Festival, which is a new play festival. And that play festival alone usually employs about 35 to 40 artists each season. And so that's it. Any questions I can answer about the theater or things that you're dying to know? Yes, sir.
Well, I saw Jennifer
Yes.
last week, and I was with 2 friends, one of whom was a retired Broadway actor, and the other was a documentary film producer, Emmy Award winning. And they hated it.
That's okay.
And the reason, and it got me to thinking afterward and the next morning. And I began to wonder, are you getting a different response from the women in the audience as opposed to the men?
Oh, for Jennifer Who Is Leaving. So Jennifer Who Is Leaving, it takes place in a Dunkin' Donut shop. You meet the character of Nan and Jennifer, who's a caregiver. And the play kind of really dives into invisible labor that women tend to take on, as well as the challenge of being a caregiver, not just from a patient-nurse relationship, but also you're a caregiver in a marriage or caregiver as a parent. So I would say it's mixed. I have had men who have also loved the play. If you hate the play, great, I got a response. I would also say, well, why did you hate the play? Did it hit a little too close to home? Did it make you think? Did it shed a little light on yourself? And that's okay. I don't think everybody should love every single play that they go and see. I think that's not art. Art is subjective. Something that you're going to hate, somebody else is going to think it's the best thing that they've ever seen. And we got rave reviews. So, some people absolutely, we sold out.
Yeah.
So some people loved it.
The only feeling I had was that the direction was kind of heavy-handed. But then it's Celine Rosenthal. I know who she is.
That's okay. I would disagree, but that's okay. The thing about our play is that about our space is you can't hide as an actor. So it's honest. And so whether you like it or not, the actors are being truthful in the moment. It's much easier to hide as an actor on a larger stage. You're like, oh, I'm just not feeling it tonight, so I'm just going to fake it. You can't do that at Urbanite because you're right there, right? Is when it's acting. I will say we had a talk back and we had two men in the audience, and one kind of gave the feedback that, well, the play just made me a little sad. And I was like, well, can you explain that? What does that mean? And I was like, well, I thought it was kind of sad, that the satire, that this is what these women were going through. It was kind of a satire. And I was like, well, let me poll the rest of the audience. Does this feel like satire? And when you have all of the women in the room go, absolutely not, this is real life. And I'm like, well, I'm glad it made you sad. This is what other people are experiencing. So, you know, as I said, you can hate the work that we do. And we don't do plays to inspire you to hate us. You know, we're not picking plays. Sometimes we get called edgy, which I detest. I think we're just doing contemporary new work that's a slice of life from today. And my job as a theater maker is to invoke empathy and to maybe showcase other communities, other slices of things that are happening that makes you think and feel. And so you might learn or see yourself in a character. So sometimes people might hate us because the content is too racy for them, or there's language or nudity, which we haven't actually done a play with nudity in a while. So you're safe. But, you know, I think if you like HBO, if you're watching anything on Netflix, you know, you're actually kind of watching the same material. It's just different when it's on a screen and you can do that from the comfortability of your sofa versus when you're actually feeling it in the moment in the space with other people. Any other? Oh, thank you. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
The size of your venue.
Mhm.
There's a lot of discussion in town about potential new performing arts center, this theater, medium size, whatever. How is, you know, as you look ahead with 80 seats or something like that, how is that working for you and your vision going forward?
Oh, that's a great question. So the thing that I think makes part of what makes Urbanite special is our intimate space, because it's a different experience for the audience. Would I love if our space was still intimate and we had maybe 100 chairs? Yeah, that'd be great, because that's like can be an additional, you know, 100 grand a year in terms of revenue, those chairs. So kind of grand vision right now, we are renters. So I would love for Urbanite to be able to maybe potentially own a space, or be able to utilize a facility where we had a secondary space so that we could be producing more work. Right now, we kind of have to work on a play, put up a play, go dark, rehearse, then put up the next one. And the more that your lights are on, the more revenue that you can create because you're constantly running. Right now, we're doing 4 main stage productions and a festival. Prior to COVID, we were doing 5 shows and a festival. And to fit in that extra 5th show, we had to overlap 2 of our productions, which that was kind of a lot on the team. And then coming out of COVID, we also wanted to change our working standards. So we moved to a 5-day work week. That's never happened for me, but for the rest of the team and the staff, we want to give our artists and staff 2 days off a week. And traditionally, a theater tech, it's called a 10 out of 12, where generally you've got like 4 12-hour days back to back, putting the sound and lights and everything together with the show. And so we have spread that out over kind of a 4-day period of that 8-hour day to kind of make it a little bit more manageable for the artist, and to be able to give artists a little bit more of a life-work balance. And so to stick in those 2 days off a week, it also elongated our calendar. So that makes it kind of impossible to fit a 5th show into our fiscal year without doing a total overlap. And we can't do a total overlap unless we had another space where we could be producing more work. So in time, I'd love to have either a little bit of a larger space or another smaller space where we could be workshopping new work while something else is happening.
Are you an equity theater?
We are non-union, but we utilize equity contracts. So we use guest artists. It's called tier 2 or tier 3. The only thing that is stopping us currently from going to, because I'm a member of Actors Equity, we always operate on equity rules. whether or not we have a full equity cast or not. So what's keeping us from going full equity house is housing. Because once you are an equity house, then the actors union dictates to you how many union actors you have to utilize. So if we have roles for say 15 actors that year, then equity comes to me and says, wonderful, 10 of those actors have to be union. And we don't have a large enough equity talent pool that's local. So until we have maybe additional housing that we can bring more people in from out of town, or the Sarasota artistic community grows, we're kind of holding back on that.
Jamie.
When is your next show if somebody wanted to go see?
Thank you for that. I will see all of you at Spaceman. Even if you hate it, I want to see you there. So our next play is Spaceman. It opens January 4th and it runs through February 18th, I believe. I've got brochures, flyers, and free tickets, so you have no excuse. But Spaceman, we meet the character of Molly Jennis. She's on a solo mission to Mars. We learn in the play that her husband, a year prior, had also tried to make this mission and didn't make it. And so the play is really about this quest for kind of the unknown and survival. And then we kind of dive into AI and the challenges of AI a little bit. And it's a fun one. And we've never done a play like this at Urbanite. It's right now just with sound cues alone. And this is even in the tech part. Right now we have 492 sound cues. And I assume we probably might have into the thousands. And so that's not even lights. So it really is going to be an immersive experience so that when you are experiencing the show, that you feel like you're going to Mars as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
remember, when you go to the show, there's complimentary wine.
There is free wine. Yes.
Complimentary wine as you walk in. That's a little.
We should have started with this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there is free wine. And we have no intermission. So usually you can get in and out within about 90 minutes.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.